Welcome, everybody, to another episode of A Chit Chat with My Mom. Now, what's a chit chat with my mom? My mom happens to be a world-renowned astrologer. Her name is Wendy Cicchetti. She's a total rock star. And so I love to have these monthly chats with her because she gives us some deep, juicy details and insights into what's going on astrologically for the planet. And what's also awesome is, if you're interested, she has the ability to do also private readings, which are super impactful and highly recommended if you want to go deep into your own astrology and how what's going on is affecting you personally. And so make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up. She gives you a newsletter every month and gives you all the updates and all the goodness that's happening. And super exciting, she'll probably talk about it too. But if you know anything about Akashic Records, and I'm going to have her tell you what Akashic Records are and what it's all about, but I've taken her class. It's an Akashic reading class, and it teaches you all about how to actually access the Akashic Records and what they are. So, Mom, really quick before we go into the juicy details of the astrology, can you tell us a little bit about your Akashic class and what that's all about and who's it for? Like, how can we benefit from that?
Okay. Well, the next class, level 1 class, beginning of classes, there are actually 3 classes per level, but it starts this coming Sunday. And what the Akashic Records are a record of your soul from its inception up to the current day and even into the future. Okay. And by learning how to access those records, you can access your past lives. You can find out what your soul has been involved in from the beginning. And it just gives you so many answers about your life and what's going on in this life as it relates to past lives, what you're cleaning up this life based on what you left undone in the last life, So it gives you all of that. And I take it really deep, so you know how to use some of these spiritual tools that I impart to help improve your life, to help heal your life. I think Misty used some of them to heal her dog who was dying, and the vet said, the only reason this dog is alive is because of what you did for him. And those were tools that she got from the Akashic classes. So they're very powerful. And I recommend, if anybody feels drawn to it or pushed to it, now's a good time.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just that, but like you can have an actual Akashic reading, which Mom does as well. You can actually just have your own reading. But again, the most powerful thing you can do is learn how to do it yourself. Absolutely. Right? So empower yourself so that you have the tools yourself, and then you can do it anytime you want. So we'll talk a little bit even more about that at the end, and you're going to want to stick around to the end because there's some juicy nuggets coming up. And I want to jump right into it. And we'll talk more about how you can contact. All the details are below. You can register for everything, sign up for her newsletter, find more information about readings and astrology. I mean, she does tarot. Mom does it all, just so you know. She does it all. Spiritual counseling. Like, when you feel like you're just messed up and you need someone to help set you straight, Mom's the one to talk to. But let's jump right in, Mom. So since the last time we chatted, what be going on right now?
Well, there aren't any more retrograde planets, so everything's going really fast, really, really fast. Moving forward, there's a lot of progress. I've been talking about things that were going to happen, for the last year or so, what we can expect, secrets revealed, all of the issues that people have been questioning, health issues and so forth. All of this information is coming out, and it's coming out really, really fast. So sometimes it's hard to keep up with it all. But no,
you were saying that before, because all of these, there were how many planets that have been in retrograde? And then really quick, can you explain to people that may have never watched this, what that means when they're in retrograde?
Okay.
Because now they're not in retrograde, so it's changing.
Right. There were 5, 6 planets that were in retrograde at the same time, which means the action of the planet goes backwards. So people review what was in the past, but nothing seems to be moving forward. You've probably felt that. You felt that things were kind of sluggish and slow, and why come we're not getting on with the things that need to happen? And so as of, this last month, I think it was the 23rd of January, when Uranus finally went direct, and Mars went direct, and Mercury went direct. And so now everything is moving forward, and it's moving forward very rapidly. Mars is a little slower to move forward because it's been retrograde, but for a while, but it's speeding up. Everything's speeding up. And so I'll tell you more about what's going on with these planets and how they're impacting us. But just know that a lot of things that I've been telling you about for the last many months are really starting to happen. Even though a lot of people won't hear about it if they listen to just mainstream media, you have to find some good alternative sources to hear the truth about what's really going on. Okay. So finally, things are moving forward. Now, leading up to this new moon that's coming on the 20th, okay, this is a huge, huge new moon. And the reason why it's so huge is because Saturn in this new moon is conjunct the moon in the US chart. It's very intense. Saturn conjunct the moon in the US chart means things are going to change, okay? And this moon is also squared Biden's North Node, which is where he's going in life. So the moon is squared his North Node and also sextile his moon. So he has direct at the same degree as this new moon, his North Node, his moon, and also the US chart with Saturn conjunct the moon. So this is huge, guys. And what this means is there's going to be some powerful changes coming. Okay. February it's continuing to ramp up. I don't know if a lot of you have felt the energies ramping up, but they really are. And as we move later into February, more powerful things are going to happen. And then March is going to be the most difficult month of the year, with powerful, huge changes. And a lot of this has to do with what's going to happen with Biden in the US. Now, also, Kamala Harris is right in the middle of her second Saturn return.
Mm.
Now, if you don't know about Saturn returns, let me tell you about them. They're not
They're not fun.
pretty. They happen between 27 and a half typically to 30, 58 and a half or 57 and a half to 60, and then again between 88 and 90. And what happens with the Saturn return is that things in your life that aren't viable will end.
Things that in your life that aren't viable will
that are
end.
no longer viable will end. Now, you can decide for yourself what the implications are for her life. Because who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it's a time of tremendous change. Okay. So, what this portends is all of this stuff with this new moon is a change, probably a change in the political reign in the United States. Things are going to change. Now, we will feel greater intensity with Mars moving forward now. Mars is your aggressive energy, aggressive action. It's a warlike energy moving into March. And it has to do with anger and hostility and war. Okay. Now I'll go into March with our next video that Misty and I do. And I'll tell you everything that's projected to happen in March. Let's just get through February first. Oh my gosh. So there's more information coming also about the corruption in the media. So watch for that, okay? Many people are stepping down from powerful positions, okay? All around the world, ambassadors stepping down, legislators stepping down, people in Congress stepping down, and that's going to move forward at a faster speed. You know, many people in positions, big corporations, are stepping down. And there's so many that I have in my head, and I can't remember exactly who all of them are, but I would say probably in the last 2 weeks, there have been 12 that I know of that have stepped down from major positions in the world. So that's a huge thing. Now, as we move toward this new moon on the 20th, there will be some big reveals on money. And this has to do also with, you know, the Uranus and Taurus, but things are feeling very heavy, and there are going to be some financial shifts. So, and it's going to be leading up to it into March, and March is going to be a lot of the trigger. But so I think we'll be learning so much more about how the money has been spent, what it's been spent on, things that we never knew before. And all of this is part of the big reveal, that the people are going to be made aware of what's actually been, the money has been used for. And this might be a really good time, if you've been impressed to do it, to take the money out of the big banks for credit unions rather than the big banks. Or it'd be a good idea. And be sure you have some cash around. I think that's going to be a good idea. So one of the interesting things too with the placement of Neptune is that it's going to be great progress is going to be made in the medical area, particularly on hard issues like mental illness. Advancements are going to be made that will help people with addictions. Okay, so all of this Neptune that we're dealing with, and Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces, this has to do with progress financially. I'm not financially, sorry, progress medically, that we'll be able to come up with some really good solutions. So this is good. Now, drugs are going to be more in the news, okay? And issues with fentanyl, huge, not just here, but around the world. You know, there's a lot of that stuff that are coming, more secrets about it. And, you know, who's involved in it will be coming forward. The things that we didn't know before, okay? And now Saturn is crossing the moon in the US chart, and it will be crossing it 3 times this year, in late February, in September, and in December. It has to do with the retrograde patterns of Saturn. Go back over it, and then back again, and then back again. And Saturn moon is, like I mentioned before, it's an intense aspect, but this is affecting the United States directly. So Saturn is going to be doing some hard work with what's going on in this country. We are not going to escape the difficult aspects with the chart. Also, Pluto, go ahead.
Can you explain what the moon represents for the US government? So if Saturn is crossing over that, what is that actually like? What kind of impact? What does the moon represent for the US?
Right. Well, the moon in any chart represents all of the inner stuff, all of the stuff that people don't see. Okay. And it does as a person. Your moon in your chart represents what people don't see, kind of what's hidden, what you don't like people to see, not necessarily. Your sun sign people see, and your rising sign people see more directly, but not your moon. And so this portends a lot of secrets coming out. A lot of things are going to be revealed over this next year. It'll probably blow a lot of people's minds.
Because Saturn is like the father planet.
Right.
Like
the father planet says, get your shit together. You know?
And he's the disciplinarian and the
right. Exactly.
So, and this crosses over the moon. So it's really just like getting a little slap in the face.
Yeah, more than a little. Because also during this same time, we're going through the United States charts Pluto return, which is in Capricorn. And Pluto is at the same degree, within a degree or two of the Pluto in the US chart. And that's like digging down deep. Pluto is all the underbelly. Pluto is all the yucky underbelly, all of the bad stuff that has to come out, that has to be broken up. Pluto is about the death of the old and the birth of the new, but it's got to be broken up. And all of that seething underbelly has got to be exposed. Okay. People need to see it, because if you do not see it, you can't heal it. It has to be made visible. And of course, I've mentioned these last eclipses. An eclipse is about, bringing up the shadow, bringing up the dark stuff. And that's what's going to happen. So, hold on to your hats, folks, because it isn't going to be pretty. So,
and you find out what your government's really been up to.
Yeah, exactly. And so also with these aspects and with this moon, there's stuff coming up with the airlines. Need to watch out for that. There may be some major shakeups, particularly in March, with the airlines. So things that we're being told, I don't think are necessarily what's underneath the surface. Okay, now let's see.
Wait a minute, let's back up, because I'm traveling in March.
I know.
So I want to know, does that mean like danger of flying? Does that mean like the airlines actually having issues and maybe falling apart? Or what does that mean?
I think it could be all of the above. And it could be just like we've had not too long ago, where flights are canceled. And
that's how, yeah.
Yeah. Flights
There's been a lot of that stuff.
A lot of that, but expect an uptick in that. Okay. So I'll get to my next sheet here so I don't miss anything. Okay. Now there are a lot of good things coming out that will help balance out the negativity or the challenges. February is also towards the end of the month, because the sun and the moon during this moon will be in Pisces, which is making your dreams come true. Okay. Start working with your manifestation. Start making, your dreams a reality. Lots of spiritual energies are coming up. It's a time of awakening. Now, you have to understand that more and more people are waking up all the time. And so that collective awakening energy is very, very powerful. And people are going to start looking at how do they create a new way of being outside of, the negativity that's out there. And so a lot of good things are going to be coming about that. You're going to feel more free. As things shift through March and into April, I think a great freedom is coming. I think we're going to feel more freedom, and it'll be a time for us to proceed with courage and faith. More of that is coming. I think that people are going to acknowledge the truth more than they ever have before. We've been involved with this cognitive dissonance, and if you don't know what that is, cognitive dissonance is when you have been so propagandized by the media, what's going on, what you're being told, government, media, that you literally cannot take in or absorb anything else. You literally, it just washes over you. You cannot accept it. You can't even think about it. But as people wake up, that cognitive dissonance dissipates, and people are able to take in the truth of things that before they just couldn't see or accept. So, and there are a lot of people out there that still have the cognitive dissonance, but it's all going to shift, Now, with this Uranus moving forward now, we can move beyond pain to more productive ways of being and thinking. Okay. Uranus is the planet of quick and sudden changes. It's in Taurus, and it has to do with money. It also, as we go through this, we will see and be aware of the great shaking that's taking place in the world. Now, I told people at our last video that we could expect earthquakes even up into the 8, and they have recalculated the second earthquake in Turkey to be an 8.1. Yeah, instead of a 7.8, it's been recalculated to an 8.1, and the death toll will probably be over 50,000. So there is a great shaking, and it's not just with earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that, but it's a great shaking in the order and structure of the world. Things can collapse in a day worldwide. We need to be aware of that. Okay. Now, the shadow side that's out there is, in other words, the movie that we've been seeing that's been put in front of us. It's going to become more intense and louder and more cons associated with it, because the perpetrators are in panic mode. They see people are waking up. They see that their narrative isn't being consumed like they had wanted it. And so as a result, you're going to see so many things get louder and louder, but, just try not to be moved by it. They're doing it to try and keep our attention and energy focused on all of this stuff constantly, that we're not literally living our truth. We're not connecting with spirit. We are involved in fear, this fear-based weaponized thinking, and when you're in fear, it screams the loudest in your head. And you can't listen to the soft whisperings of spirit. And that's what
fear is debilitating. It'll cripple you.
Absolutely debilitating. And I think that's why in the Bible there are over 400 references to fear not. Stay out of fear, because it takes you away from your connectedness, So, because the energy shifts are so high too, it's hard on us physically. I don't know if you guys are experiencing what I am, but I have a lot more aches and pains than I did. And it's because the frequency is raising. And so we're having to readjust to it like almost every day. And our bodies are like, oh my gosh, a lot of people aren't sleeping. A lot of people having really hard time sleeping because the energy is so high. The frequency is so high. So be careful around the new moon too, because this moon on the 20th is in Pisces. And so the sun and moon are both in Pisces, which means you can get on emotional overload easily. Pisces is extremely emotional and extremely sensitive. So if you start feeling more emotion, recognize where it's coming from, and so, watch out for that. When we get too emotional, we lose perspective. And I have been telling people for a long time, stay emotionally neutral. Don't invest your emotion in things you cannot change, because it's a waste of your energy. Okay. Now, there are other good things that are coming, which is many new social structures that are going to be good for us. Now, Mercury at this time, at the time of the moon, is also in a square to Uranus. Okay, Mercury is how we think, right? Our thought processes. And Uranus is higher mind functions, really good ideas, very electrical energy. And so we're going to be getting good electrical ideas, flashes of inspiration for futuristic ideas. If you get ideas, write them down, but this will be a really good time to pay attention to your thoughts and write them down. What are the ideas that are coming to you at that time? That will be very important. Okay. Now, for those who want the unedited version, go to Rumble, and I will continue on. And then for the YouTube people, we've got a lot of fascinating stuff at the end also, but there's just a few things we'll discuss on Rumble. So, first of all, we all need to be rooted in the God of our understanding. We have got to be grounded and rooted in that energy. We have to remember who we truly are, that we carry within us this light. And we have the ability, if we'll quiet our minds and get rid of fear, to hear the whisperings of spirit that will give us the answers, that will tell us and direct us what to do. Okay. We're not alone. And a lot of people they have disconnected from the source of their power. And you guys need to reconnect with the God of your understanding. And whatever your spiritual roots are, reconnect with them. As everything in our world is showing so much evil, we've got to stay grounded and connected. Okay. When you connect with the source of light, you have an alignment. You become aligned. Okay. We have a divine spark within us. Okay. Which allows us to stay aligned if we will just rely on that source. Now, to reconnect with truth and light, we need to be patient, generous, loving, joyful, peaceful, and kind. And we can be those things if we're connected. If we're in fear, we'll never achieve it, because fear is so loud. You want to endure life and grow with goodness rather than to be the victim. We could all claim that we're victims. It doesn't get us anywhere. Okay. We need to make the world a better place and put our pain aside and move forward and help make the world a better place. We can't change the last 3 years or 10 years or 20 years, however long all of this corruption's been going on. So don't trust what you see. Don't trust in what you are told. Do not allow social media to mold how you think. Social media is designed through the algorithms to change your perceptions. Question everything. It's all designed and fashioned by external trends. You want to be a trendsetter, have
An
surge.
influencer.
Yeah, an influencer, it's all just nonsense, shallow nonsense. It's designed to sucker you into their way of thinking. They want you to be a slave to their agenda. And that's why they're doing it. Okay. Connect with your God or higher self and form your own opinions and listen to the quiet whisperings of the God of your understanding. Okay. We may experience in the next little while abrupt changes with Saturn in Taurus. We're not done. Okay. So be prepared. I am hearing a lot about what they call the great silence that is coming. And so stay grounded and don't fear. If things shut down, they may shut down. And we've talked about this 2 to 3 weeks, but know that there's stuff, good things, miracles happening behind the scenes. Don't fall into this, oh my God, we're doomed. No, don't be moved by it. Don't be moved by what you see. Okay. There's a saying that goes, you will see it when you believe it. And what that means is when you see the truth that God is in control, not these evil people, God is in control of this world. And if you believe in that, then you'll see it. You'll see the miracles happen. So we all have to be, keyed into that way of thinking and not let the distractions and all the stuff that's going on affect our center, affect our equilibrium, our balance. Okay. So have courage, faith, and peace with the understanding that God is truly in charge and great miracles are happening behind the scenes. Okay, I'm done with all my stuff now.
Wham bam.
Yeah.
But and also, and to add to that, you know, connecting and developing a personal relationship with the God of your understanding, and knowing that, you know, your spirit housed in a physical body, and that spirit and your frequency and your how important your frequency is. You know, because another great place to go for some information is heartmath.com, because they've actually done the scientific research of the actual frequency, the electromagnetic frequency that you emit out into the field around you with different emotions. Yeah. So when you're in fear and you're in, you know, anger and jealousy and rage and all of these things, that it actually emits far outside of your body, which means it affects everything in your field, everything in your environment. And so when you start to empower yourself with this information and this knowledge, and knowing that you can change your frequency, you can up your frequency and alter your frequency. And then I also believe that when you're in higher levels of frequency, this is when, like my mom was saying, to hear this, that sweet, intuitive voice of the God of your understanding talking to you and communicating with you and guiding you, because we all have this deep inner compass that is guiding us if we tune into it and we know how to listen to it. And being in higher states of frequency, you're not going to access it if you're in fear and if you're in anger and you're in, you know, frustration and you're trying to think things through. It's like really tapping in to spirit and being, what I say is, you know, you're the boss at you and you're the one that's in charge of you. And so put your big girl panties on or your big boy panties on and take charge of your life and take charge of your frequency. And if you know that you're down in the dumps, what do you have to do to change things around? You know, we hear all this bad information, and it's hard to hear all this information because it's heavy, and it's like, God, like, if God's running the show, then why are babies being killed? And why are these people like, what is it like, why is that allowed to happen? No, we don't know. We don't know. But what our job is, I believe, is to shine as bright as we can, get our frequency as high as possible so that we are this evolutionary change into a different kind of world that we want to create together. Because ultimately, I know we win. We win, like ultimately. And we don't know, but you know, my mom said it many times. It's like, we're not going to shift. And this is what's unfortunate, is that pain is the great motivator. And we're not really going to change unless we get really uncomfortable. And it's, you know, you're actually forced to change. You get taken to your knees so that you actually see a different way and open your eyes and change the way that you go. And hopefully you wake up quick enough before the pain gets so bad that, you know, you can't handle it. But that we do have the ability to alter our frequency and take charge of that. And actually, you can choose what thoughts you're going to think. Yeah. You have the ability to choose any thought you want and think it. Or you can just let your brain take over and let it run the show, and then believe the bullshit that's going on in your brain all the time that isn't true, that keeps you in fear and keeps you scared and keeps you negative. Or you can go, wait a minute, look at me spinning these thoughts. How does this make me feel? Do I want to feel this way? And is it even true? And even if it is true, what am I going to do about it? Like, how am I going to manage myself, my inner world? I've always said that the only job you really truly have is managing your inner world, the inner environment. That's what you're responsible for. That's the only thing that you can actually do anything about, because you can't change other people. You can't force people to understand. You can't change like you said, you can't change what's happened in the past. The only control you have is what's going on in your inner world. And you do have the ability to do that, but it requires practices. It requires, you know, taking time, meditating, having tools and resources and tricks in your bag, you know, that you can pull out when things are frustrating. And just knowing, hey, when I'm driving and someone cuts me off and I want to fucking son of a bitch, you get in my way. What if you were to actually take a deep breath and bless that person? Yeah. Bless them on their way. I don't know if they're headed to the hospital. You know, we just instantly, what if you just shift and go, okay, today, just for today, not for the rest of my life, just today, I'm going to try I'm gonna take on a new practice today where I'm just gonna take a deep breath before I react. Before I react or I snap at anyone, just today I'm gonna take a deep breath. That's what I mean. There's tools that you can do. And another thing my mom taught me that I love, because I asked her one day, I go, how the hell did you raise 7 children on your own? Like how? And I remember you told me one day at a time. One day at a time. That's all you could do. Get through one day at a time. Like, how did you like? Because I'm 51 and I have no children and I have dogs, and that I can't even imagine even having one child and how hard it is, what you have to manage to get through a day, like taking care of a family and feeding them. And so it's that same concept, is not trying to think about next week. It's like one day at a time. What do you need to do today? Because you can manage today. But if you think you have to manage the next 5 years, you're screwed. Like it's too big of a, right? So it's just going, okay, what do I have to do today? Because each day you start to flex and develop these muscles of developing the calm and the inner peace, and that knowing that this information is going to come, you're going to hear it. You know, what am I going to do with it? Okay, I'm aware of what's going on, but my job, thank you for the information. I'm glad that I'm educated and I can do research. And at the end of the day, I have a choice of what I'm going to allow to happen in my inner world, and be the boss. Be the boss of you, you know.
Be the boss of you.
Be the boss of you.
Well, I have heard, as I've listened to some people who, speak spiritually, that the delay in the transformation is so things will get so bad that people will wake up. They're waiting. The transformation in the world is waiting on people to wake up and take personal action, just like what you said. And so the way I look at it, whatever it takes to get people to see the truth of things and to connect with the truth of who they are, that's what needs to happen. It's not going to shift until more and more people recognize who they really are, and that all this other stuff is just noise. It's
just noise. And by the way, God is in you.
That's right.
Not outside of you.
Inside.
Not in the church. Not in the temple. You are the temple.
Yeah.
Like
it's like Greg Braden talks about, that it's God is in the body is actually written in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God
is fascinating.
Is written in our DNA. Yeah.
And there's fantastic, you guys, like Greg Braden's awesome. If you've got Gaia television, now that's a great place to get really cool spiritual information. It's an app, you pay a monthly service fee. It's amazing. And the programming is incredible. Rewired by Joe Dispenza's on there, like just amazing information that can help you on that side, to develop your spiritual practices. And like, this is what's awesome also, like to get deeper into, like, if you need spiritual counseling, like this is something that my mom offers that's amazing. And she's going to be putting together classes and workshops so that she can speak to you intimately and you can ask questions. So that's what I mean. Sign up for her newsletter, get on her newsletter, and then she can send you out all the information of all the stuff that's coming. And doing I'm telling you, life-changing astrological reading with my mom is truly, I think it's essential, because it teaches you so much about who you are, and the makeup of your nature. And what I love about the way she does astrology is it's not this predictive astrology, well, you're going to meet the tall, dark stranger. No, but she's like, here's your strengths, here's your weaknesses, here's how you use your strengths to overcome your weaknesses. And these energies are going to be moving for you right now. And this is how you use what you have, the tools you have to overcome this, and to be aware of what's coming and what's going on. So it's very empowering astrology, which I think is great. It's not this like airy fairy woofy. My mom's like me. She's practical, straightforward, nuts and bolts, like say it like it is. And at the same time, you get a lot of spiritual guidance and counseling, which is fantastic. And that's where, hopefully, if you get a chance to take the Akashic Records class, I took it, fantastic. And the practices are fantastic, to be able to access another realm of where all the information, all of it lies, and to be able to, that you yourself have the ability to access the records. It's really, the information I got was mind. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I couldn't have made this stuff up. Like, this is fascinating. So if you're interested in those things, just make sure you sign up. And my name's Misty. I am the creator of The Groove, and I have an app called Body Groove. I help people get into their bodies and dance and learn basically about themselves through just learning how to move your body your own beautiful way. And it's quite healing and powerful, and another great way to raise your vibration. So
one of the things I like about Misty's groove method is that it teaches you not to care what other people think. You know, stop worrying about what other people think of you moving your body, because they're worried about their their movement.
trust me,
About
nobody
you.
cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. No, everyone's on their phone. Don't worry. Nobody cares.
I love that. That's so great.
Nobody cares. And I like this. If people are judging you, it's their fault. It's their problem. Let them deal with it. Like, why would you care? I love what you said one time. Some that I don't care about something. Oh, people's opinions of me is none of my business.
Yeah, that's right. What other people
None of my business.
None of my business.
None of my business.
I love
Like
that.
let them deal with it. Like, I don't want, why would I change who I am because of what other people might think about me? That was a huge awakening in my life. So if you want help with that, Groove is a great tool to help you do that. So,
well,
but
both of us like working with people. We just work with people in different ways.
yeah, but it's all to the same goal. Like, it's all, you know, connecting to your authentic self, connecting to the God of your understanding, being the master of your life, manifesting what you want in your life, having the tools and resources to do what you want to do, and empower yourself. So we're going to be doing this again. Since they've been going so well, we'll be doing a monthly chit chat with my mom. That's what we call it.
What we want to do is connect or coordinate with Misty's schedule, because she's going to be leaving for a couple of months, and I don't know whether you can do these while you're in Europe.
Yep, I'll be on tour in Europe. So if you live in Europe, you can find me. I'll be doing some live classes and events in Europe for
hopefully
May.
we'll be able to connect.
Yeah, no, we can do it.
Okay.
So we'll keep it up. We'll keep these conversations going. And if you have any questions, like, again, all the information's below. You can email mom questions, what you want her to maybe cover on the next call, things you might be interested in, and then she can address any questions you
and especially because this new Akashic class is coming this weekend. If you're interested in taking that class, email me right away, and I'll have my email below the video.
Yeah, awesome class. And just so they're aware, it's 4 Sundays or 3 Sundays?
3 Sundays.
3 Sundays.
All a month apart. So you have time to practice in between each class.
Yeah.
So this one in February, one in March, and one in April.
Yeah. So really easy to digest, and you can make the time for it, and life-changing. So if you're looking for some more spiritual practices, it's a great one to do. So anyways, you guys, thanks for joining us. Mom, thanks for all that information and all the deep, dirty dish that we're not getting on the mainstream stuff. Right. And we look forward to hearing from you guys and seeing you on our next chit chat.
All right. So, stay happy and courageous.
Ciao for now.
Well, bye.